Today's video is an in-depth look at how stones and gems are cut. This is the method I use. Obviously other people might not do exactly what I do, but I hope you enjoy this, and if it's a bit too in-depth, skip forward. My source of all plans, or most plans, are facetdiagrams.org. Absolutely brilliant site. This is just the top part. The plan that you can download gives you all the cutting angles. The faceting rough I'm using today, and you can facet pretty much anything from a beach pebble to a bit of glass, is Nailsea vintage glass, purely because I have a little shop who would like some gems cut out of Nailsea vintage glass. The stone I'm cutting today is a close relation to the standard brilliant, probably the most popular and one of the easiest stones to cut, but the 9 main brilliant is a close cousin. Nailsea glass cuts very well, as you can see from the pair, which is part of a 3 set I'm doing for the little shop in Nailsea. First stage is pre-forming by setting the protractor angle to 90 degrees and spinning it round to make a perfect round, circumference, circle, whatever you want to call it. This is the exact same process, whether it be a rough ruby, a sapphire, an emerald, a diamond, whatever you want to call it. You would start by pre-forming like this. And here we have it, a perfectly round stone. Second stage for me is looking at the pavilion, is to do the pointy bit, and that's at 42.5 degrees. So that's what I'll set on my protractor angle and just start shaping that stone. Next I'm going to swap out to a 1200 disc and smooth the girdle and smooth the pavilion, and once I've done that I can look into the stone to see how good it is, and I will then start faceting each individual facet. So looking at the plan, we're already set at 42.5 and the first facet is set at 3 degrees on the bronze index wheel. Just getting the levels on the first two, which is 3 and 8. So 3. 8. And then I'm going to whiz through the rest and see how it lays out. So 3, 8, 14. So now I've got the level, I'm basically laying in all the rest of the facets, 3, 8, 14, 18, 24, 29, 35 and so on, until I reach the end at 93, and then that's the first lot of facets, mirror facets done. You see there a clear image of the index wheel with all the markings on it. So look. So now we're setting out the girdle. Some people wouldn't bother with the girdle because it makes it more difficult when you're setting the stone with the silver wrapped over the edge. But since we're doing a full gem, let's do the girdle. So we set it at 90. And we start at 3. This you need to eyeball a bit more. Again, I'm searching for the level. And that's the level I'm choosing. 8. I need to go a bit deeper. Right, without looking at it myself, let's let you judge it, and then I'll have a go at judging it. Not bad at all. Corrections I make are with the 3000 disc or the polishing lap when I get to that stage. So now, using that as a basis, we'll put the second block of mirror facets in, which is at 41 degrees. Bring her up and put the splash guard on because I'm getting a wet leg. For those of you who are interested, I'm using an 8-inch 1200 disc on this Nailsea glass, Victorian Nailsea glass, because it seems to cut well with that. So 41 degrees, check, and we start at 96, check. I've got the table at the right height and the angle is correct at 41 degrees. I'm laying in the rest of the second mirror facets, 96, 11, 21, 32 and so on until 85. And that's it cut. Basically trusting the machine. Trusting the machine makes it a lot quicker. There is a little bit of inclusion on the end there, so I might have to cut it narrower. On the other hand, I could just leave that in as part of a natural part of the history of this Nailsea glass, which I think I will do. So basically we've done that. Now it's into polishing, I would have thought. It doesn't look like it needs any more than that. Well, let's try the polish. So I'm going to start the polish using Perspex lap, and I'm just going to leave the setting as it was on the last lot of mirror facets and see what the polishing comes out like. So the reason I'm moving the table up and down here is because when I'm laying down the polish on this first facet, it's just polishing the top of the mirror, not the bottom. So by lowering the table, I lower the angle and it will then polish the whole of the facet. So we've done that, we've polished those secondary facets. Let's go back to the initial ones now at 42.5 out. Right, pretty much done. I'm just going to do a little few touch-ups here and there, and then we'll get on to the girdle. So we're starting on the crown. We have removed the old dop and put the new one on, so we can now focus on the crown. It's at 40 degrees eyesight, sorry about this, hope I'm not blinding the camera. So yeah, we've set that at 40. And it starts at 3. You saw me lining it up, so we're now ready to start with the crown, and it follows exactly the same pattern as the pavilion, where we set an angle here, we set the degrees here, and then we lower the handpiece carefully and facet, cut the stone, grind the stone until we've reached the right point, and that's judged by getting the first level on the first facet, and then we're roughly there. So I'm using a 1200 disc because this isn't a horribly hard material, and let's make a start. So we'll go gentle to start off with. And what we're trying to do with this is get the first facet to a level on what's called the girdle, and probably leave about 1 millimeter's worth of space to start off with. So its belt, its girdle, is about 1 millimeter, 3/4 of a millimeter wide. tell there it's just coming off the cut. If I move it to the right, it cuts a bit more. Move it to the left, it disappears. So there's a slight differential. You need a bit more. Call is to leave enough of the girdle to be able to make slight alterations should you need, but cut deep enough so you don't have to carry on forever polishing and polishing and polishing. So there are 18 girdle facets and there are 18 angled facets, and that's the level we're cutting them at. So as you can see there, the first one's in, and that's at 3, the next one's at 8. So I'll just move it along to 8, leave all the levels the same, and cut. And for now I rely upon the accuracy of the machine till we get to the polishing stage, or the fine cutting stage, and then I can make any adjustments. So I'm doing exactly this for the next 18 cuts, just keeping the angle the same and just moving it along to a different index. The next one being 14 after 8 is cut, so you don't need to watch all of that, you get the gist. So that's the first lot of crown facets in. And we're now going to go to the second lot, which is done at 34 degrees. So we alter to 34 degrees here. And we're starting at 96, and basically we're taking this down to the girdle. Okay, come up a bit. You've got to be careful with this. You can see, hopefully you can see, it's just coming in. And again we're trying to find the level. Not quite taking it down to the girdle because we need a little bit of room for adjustment and also polishing, hence taking it very steady. think I'm happy with that. So that's the level we're cutting to. So that's 96. Now let's go to 11. And leave everything as it is. And let the disc do the work. Checking when friction becomes less. By friction I mean that ability for it to drag across the disc. We're almost there because it's not dragging. And a quick look confirms it. So that's what we're going to do. I'm just going to put the rest in. Next one, 21. That's the next lot come in now. So there's 4 lots of facets on the top. The next ones are at 23 degrees on this particular plan. And it starts at 5. So looking at the plan, these are little corner facets, so we've got to watch how they come in. Raise it a lot. These will not take a lot to do. So you've got to go careful. I'm assuming you can see that coming in there, and we've now got to join it. I'm happy with that, so we'll put the rest in. So that was at 5, next one's at 27. Waiting for the noise to change and the friction to stop. And then a quick check. And that's it. Now ready for the table. It looks nice as it is. Obviously it's not polished, but the table lets the light in, and the table is done at 0. And you can pick any angle really, but 96 tends to be the traditional. And we're now going to join up all these top facets here. Hopefully you can see that, to have this table here, which the light goes in, bounces on the edges and comes back out again. So just looking at the picture of the plan, we lower directly onto the face and start chipping up, not chipping, smoothing away. I need to concentrate on this, so I'll come back to you when it's done. Okay, we're almost there. So what I'm going to do is swap out to the finest diamond disc that I have, which is 3000, and really smooth off that face, that table on top of the crown, to make it as easy to polish as possible, because that's where all the light goes in, as I said. So leaving it exactly where it was. And cleaning it off just in case there was any grit on it. Hopefully you can see the difference now. You can see right into the gem with that 3000. That's not the final polish though, because we're now going to use a perspex disc as an actual polishing disc, and we're using 50 to 100,000 grit diamond powder, oil. And that's how you polish a gem. So what we're going to do with that is basically go over every single facet that we've done with that perspex perspex disc, which is this one. Clean it off. We'll put a slick of oil on it, rub in some diamond powder, and then literally just refacet every one until it shines, every facet we've done. WD, that gives it a quick clean up, because again we need to come fresh at it. Now this could make a squeaking noise if it hasn't got enough lubricant on it. We'll see. Frustratingly, it's doing about 2/3 of the face at the moment, because it's not quite landing the same as it did on the 3000 disc. but we'll persist with it, and I'll come back to you when all the polishing is done. And so hopefully you can see there how the disc is not quite aligned with the face, yet we haven't moved anything, and this is a fairly common thing. So we're just going to persist in that polish until it reaches all the way across the top. And I can clearly see, I don't know if you can, the difference between a polished surface and a not polished surface there. Now you can see the difference. The table is polished, and the way I've done that is by just moving the gem around. The slightly different minute details in the disc is getting to the whole surface, and I can see that through the gem. I can see where the oil is pooling at the bottom, and then I move it and I can see it pooling somewhere else. So I'm covering the whole surface. I think that's good. I think we're done there. So we'll get on with faceting. Nope, not quite happy. So we're on the final few facets along the very top, touching the table, and that's at 23 degrees, which we've set, and it starts at 5, which I set on the index wheel. See how that lands. Needs to be lower. Looks good. Very small facet, so 24, 25, 26, 27. It doesn't take a lot to polish. So this video has been far much more in depth and using a lot of geometry and diagrams to explain how a gem is cut. If you like this format, please let me know, because I can do some more. If you want to challenge me with a gem that you find on faceting.org, then find it, tell me and challenge me, and I will have a go. If you want them to be less in depth, again let me know. And we're done. Now you're not going to see the full effect until we've removed the stone, which is a risk point because we've got to apply heat to remove it or soak it overnight. But I think it's going to look alright. Let's find out. What this does is it softens the epoxy, but it's a very fine balancing act between it also overheating the gem and cracking it, which has happened. final full reveal coming up shortly. Again, the usual appeal to like, subscribe if you're interested, pass it on to somebody else if you think they might be interested, and hopefully see you again at the next video. We'll take some proper pictures of it, but it's looking good.
Forgive dirty hands.